What is up, all my dorks, nerds, geeks, and gamers? It's your host, Ghost here, and today we're going to be doing another episode of Dorks in Movie Minute. Today we're going to be talking about, discussing, and reviewing The French Dispatch from Wes Anderson. I have to say first, right off the bat, guys, I'm not a huge Wes Anderson fan. The only Wes Anderson film I've ever seen and I loved, like 100% loved, was The Grand Budapest Hotel. And so that's kind of why I wanted to see the French Dispatch, because I was looking for that kind of comedy style, that kind of wacky, colorful world that Wes Anderson does so well. So I stuck around, I waited for it to come out on HBO Max, and I caught it on there, and after watching it, I do have to say I'm a little bit disappointed, but I am happy with the writing, I am happy with the color choices, the way he chose to shoot some things in black and white and some things in color. And the way he chose to wind this story between three different stories while still having a fourth story that kind of overarches all of it. And it's very much reminiscent of what he did with the Grand Budapest Hotel. But the main difference being in the Grand Budapest Hotel, we were following Sir Gustav and Zero as the two main characters, whereas this movie's main character is the creator of the French Dispatch newspaper. So he's more of an overarching kind of character where he's not really intertwined in their stories at all, where he's kind of the editor and he's kind of reading their stories and kind of making his play on what they say. And I definitely like that take a whole lot, but it doesn't work as well as having a main character to follow through and to really know their motivations and as a character and to really get behind them as a character. And that's the one thing I had here is there was tons of stuff visually to look at, very beautiful storylines going on. But there was no characters to follow and no one to really get attached to. So even when the ending happens the way it does, you just don't have any emotional pull with how things happen with Bill Murray's character. So we're going to get into spoilers a little bit, just to give you a little bit of how this movie actually works out. Bill Murray is the creator of this French Dispatch newspaper. He's not Bill Murray, but it's Bill Murray playing the character. And he basically has these group of editors, and they go out and make these stories or whatever. The movie focuses on three main stories. The first story is a prisoner and a prison guard who the paper ends up finding out he's a great artist, so they convince him to get off death row to make artwork for the newspaper or for whatever reason they have for him. So he's in there, we get to see his story. The second story is about a young revolutionary who ends up having a relationship with one of the writers of the newspaper. And so he goes on his adventures as he's writing to her. And he falls in love with a different revolutionary, and they end up doing a radio, pirate radio sort of thing where they take over this radio station. And he becomes this genius, but it's all like the writer knows that he's not a genius, that he's a complete idiot. And that's kind of the play on that story there. And then the third story is about a cook who is supposed to poison somebody, poison another individual. And he ends up eating the poison and finding a brand new flavor that he really enjoys, but it's poisonous, so it can kill him. So it's a very cool story on that way as well. The whole movie is all about perspective. It's about the stories, and not just the stories about the people living in the moment in those stories and how they felt, and how that can change the story of how it actually looks through the eyes of others. So the whole thing's about perspective. But it ends off, the movie all culminates into this touching ending for the Bill Murray character who ends up passing away in the newspaper. And he said once he passes away, the newspaper is done, it is over with, there is no more French Dispatch after this. And he does end up passing away, and they end up shutting down the newspaper. And this movie is kind of like the memorial to the creator of the French Dispatch. Another fun little moment in the movie is there is an animated segment, probably a good 5-10 minute segment, where they use the animation style of the covers of the actual French Dispatch, which you will see at the end credit scenes. Like during the end credits are playing, you get to see all these covers of the original French Dispatch newspapers, magazines or whatever it was. Very beautiful artwork, and it works really well in animated form in a segment later on in the movie here. But other than that, I thought it was a really good movie. I love the writing. I think the jokes were funny, but not as funny as Grand Budapest Hotel. And I thought it was shot very artistically, but once again, not as artistically beautiful and vibrant as the Grand Budapest Hotel. And I know it's wrong to compare some of his movies to other movies, but I feel like he's kind of retreading water here, and it's not done in the way that it could be the most fresh and feel the most new to us viewers who have seen a bunch of Wes Anderson films. So let me know down below what you guys thought of The French Dispatch. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a pretty decent movie, but I wasn't on board with it like I was The Grand Budapest Hotel. It's not one of my favorite comedies of all time like that movie is. But I did like it. I did like the message it was spinning, that it was spreading, and I did like the artistic shots, and I liked the way he used the black and the white and the color to use flashbacks and to show. It wasn't just for flashbacks, it was to show the development of newspaper, because they started all in black and white, so the older stories are in black and white. And then the more newer stories or more modern stories are in color. So I really like that touch to give you that tone that you're watching a newspaper on a movie. So yeah, very cool. I love the idea. 7 out of 10. Let me know down below what you guys think of The French Dispatch. I enjoyed it a lot, enough to watch it again if I wanted to. But let me know down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, or share. And as always, guys, keep it right here on Dorks Den. I've been your host, Ghost. Adios.